Worship team, good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas. I had one person say Happy New Year to me. Yeah. Happy New Year. Almost. Raise your hand if your name is Keisha Atsuji. Welcome. Keisha and I go way back. She looked much younger. I looked exactly the same. And she is one of the pastors that are starting City Church here in town. Thank you for coming. We love having you here. I would never single a person out like this, except it's you, so there you go. And yeah, welcome. So it is Christmas. Some of you are going to understand this, some of you maybe not, but there is a significant challenge for me. By the way, for those of you new, my name is Peter. I'm one of the pastors here, and you are very welcome here. One of the challenges we have is when we talk about Christmas, if we say Christmas is a time of great joy, I leave a whole bunch of you who do not feel great joy. I leave you out. And if I talk about Christmas and the challenges there, I leave a portion of you out that say there is no challenges. This is a wonderful time. And so the challenge is to talk about Christmas accurately and correctly, and to point at the role Christmas plays in our reality, all of our reality. So I'm going to attempt to do that. And I've asked someone to help. Merrick is here. Merrick, thank you, Merrick. I need Merrick to do the thing that I asked Merrick to do. Nobody pay attention to Merrick, okay? Pay no attention at all as he walks off stage and opens that door. Now, sometimes when we talk about Christmas, we talk about gifts. And already inside of you, I can see some people who want to stand up and say, but it's not about gifts. I know that. But some of you are going to say, I'm really excited about gifts. I know that. And some of you are going to say, I'm excited about gifts, but only the gifts that I buy, never the gifts that I receive. You're very holy. I know it. This is our Christmas tree made out of gifts. Thank you, Merrick. Round of applause for Merrick. And I have asked another person to come help. This is Daryl Snyder. Come on up, Daryl. Now, Daryl has been coming with his family to this church for about not quite 2.5 years, but more than 2 years. A friend of mine and a good man, and someone who really wishes I didn't invite him onto stage, and is really going to wish that I didn't just go get this microphone right here. When I was a kid, I received gifts. Did you ever get gifts? And some of the gifts that I received might be like some of the gifts that you receive. And so our sermon series is called Gifts from My Youth. And so, Daryl, I wonder if you walk over here with me. Actually, you stay there. I'm going to walk over here. I have a gift right here. And I'm going to get you to guess what is in this gift.
I was never good at that.
I don't care. Go ahead. It was a puppy. Now it's a problem.
Socks.
No, it's not socks.
All right. Teddy bear.
It's not a teddy bear. When I was in elementary school, what is in this box was all the rage. If you had this, man, you were top brick on the chimney. And if you didn't have this, like, what were you even doing? So let's go ahead and open this up.
Maybe it's a Tamagotchi.
It's maybe a Tamagotchi. It'd be dead if it is, but go ahead, open her up. Now, if you remember this, when it comes out, I want you to raise your hand real tall. It's okay, man. We got all day. No problem at all. Don't even worry about that.
That was fast.
It's not even. What do we have here?
That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
What is it?
No fear.
How many of you remember these? Hold that up nice and tall. How many of you remember these? Oh, yeah. This was it, right? And now, those of you who remember, you go ahead. Would you mind sliding that on for us and modeling that? And guess what? You can actually keep that shirt. That is your shirt. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, put her on. Yeah. The shirt says no fear. N-O, fear. Go ahead, you can model a round of applause for our model here. Now, some of you might be too young to remember this, but you got to understand, these shirts were all the rage when I was in elementary school and in high school. And we would put these shirts on, and we would walk around to assure people that we felt no fear. Nothing. Until it was the school dance, and you had to ask the girl to dance. That was terrifying. But aside from that, there was no fear, and we would walk around with this shirt. And they actually hung on for quite a while. That was a fashion thing. No fear. What is it about fear that we shy away from? Why is it that fear is something we want to convince you we don't even feel it? I think it's because of action movies. I think that's got to play into it. When you'd go to an action movie and someone would go into whatever situation with no fear, and they would persevere and they would prevail, and that's great. But the reality for me, and maybe for you, is that there's lots that I'm fearful of. Fearful every day. If there was no fear, what would the point of stop signs be? If there was no fear, why do you have a code on your phone or your Interac card? There's fear that touches all kinds of places in our lives. There's a story that I want to tell you today, and if you've been coming to church for very long, you may have heard of a guy named Zachariah. Zachariah was a priest. He came from a priest family. His parents were priests, and his lineage was priests. He was really good at being a priest. Always makes me think of farmers. You know, someone says, I'm a farmer, my dad was a farmer, my grandpa, my great-grandpa, that kind of thing. You go, well, was your mom a farmer? How does that go? Well, this is how this goes. Zachariah was a priest. Zachariah's dad was a priest. Zachariah's grandpa was a priest. A long lineage of priestly people in this family. He married a woman named Elizabeth. Elizabeth was a priest. Elizabeth came from a priestly family. This means that Elizabeth's dad was a priest. Elizabeth's grandfather was a priest. And these two did priestly things together for their entire life. And they were really good at being priests. They were really good at being priests. In fact, they were so good at being priests that that's one of the ways that we talk about them and we identify them. They were righteous in God's eyes, careful to obey all of the Lord's commandments and regulations. Careful to obey all of them. All of them. If you've spent any time in the Old Testament, you know how many there are. This is quite a thing. They also had no children at all. This is a problem. The way it worked then was when you had a child, you of course cared for the child as mom and dads are caring for kids here. You cared for the children, and when you got old, your children would then care for you. There's two things that happen here. The first is you need to understand that without kids, there is no care for you. And the second thing you have to understand is your kid has to be old enough to do that by the time you need them to. And they had no children. There was nowhere else to go. This was a problem. And you can bet these people spent a lot of time praying. A lot of time asking God, give us children. And the answer had been no. Zechariah is part of a group of people, priests, that would go when they were called to the temple. And they would go do the priestly things. You need to understand the temple. The temple was a place where only certain people went into certain parts of the temple. And on this day, they drew lots. They had straws, and you would pull the short straw. And if the short straw was pulled, you were the person that was able to go into the inner part, the central part of the temple. And you would burn incense, and you would offer sacrifices to God. You need to understand, this person who drew the short straw, they were allowed in, and nobody else is allowed in. And they took it as seriously as we take Jesus. It's no joke. You're not allowed in there. So this day, Zechariah is working there. He pulls the short straw, and in he goes. And he does the work. And while he is in there, an angel appears to him. And he is terrified. This is something we find all through Scripture. When one of these celestial beings is seen by someone, they are terrified. Apparently, when you see an angel, it's shocking. It is amazing. You're taken aback and you are terrified by the sheer power of angels. I don't think we do a good job of describing angels. Little babies with wings on them that float around. That is not terrifying to me. Zechariah, who is someone who has seen some things, he's been alive for a long time, he is terrified. And the angel says, do not be afraid, Zechariah. God has heard your prayer. Oh, good. Which prayer might that be? His entire life given to prayer, given to worship. Your wife Elizabeth will give you a son, and you are to name him John. That sentence there, you are to name him John, that's going to come up in a different part of the story. Don't forget that one. You will have great joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. And then the angel goes on to describe something. He will be great in the eyes of the Lord. He must never touch wine or other alcoholic drinks. He will be filled with the Holy Spirit even before his birth. That is a holy sentence. And he will turn many Israelites to the Lord their God. He will be a man with the spirit and power of Elijah. He will prepare the people for the coming of the Lord. He will turn the hearts of fathers to their children, and he will cause those who are rebellious to accept the wisdom of the godly. This sounds like great news. This is wonderful. He should be thrilled. Wouldn't you be? I would be. I mean, first of all, Elizabeth is going to be pregnant. They're going to have a child. Secondly, that child is a holy child. Zechariah says to the angel, how can I be sure this will happen? He says, I'm an old man now, and my wife is also well along in years. And then the angel says this, my name is Gabriel. I stand in the very presence of God. And God sent me to tell you, and because of your disbelief, you will now remain silent. What's going on here? This story does not make sense. We listen to this story and we think to ourselves, oh yeah, what's the problem? There shouldn't be a problem here. This is just good stuff. One of the things that's happening in this story is actually something that started happening when Zechariah was a child. There's an author, a prolific author. His name is Josephus. The Romans hired Josephus to write their history. As it was happening, write their history. He wrote over the course of his entire life, he wrote 63 books. These books are readily available, just Google. This book that I'm going to tell you the story of is called The Siege of Jerusalem in 63. This is book 14, chapter 4. The story is about a guy named Pompey. Now, I know there's a volcano named Pompeii. That's not what we're talking about. It's different spelling. There was a guy named Pompey, and history teaches us his name is Pompey the Great. A lot is written about Pompey the Great. Pompey is Roman. Everybody say Roman. Roman is the enemy. You need to know that. Pompey comes, and I've got a map here. I'm going to get the map to get put up on the wall here. Pompey comes to invade Jerusalem. Do we have that map? We don't have the map? I even got my laser pointer out here, and we don't have the map? We got the map. Pompey comes to invade Jerusalem, and Pompey sets up right here. This is Jericho. Remember the walls of Jericho? And the walls come tumbling down. You know that one, Keisha? I taught you about that in youth group years ago. Okay. This is where he sets up. Pompey's camp is about 23 kilometers away from Jerusalem. And what you need to know is it's a very old city, and as cities get older, they get taller. Because when you throw out stuff, there isn't the dump, there's just the ground. And so you used to have a 2-story house, but if you live long enough, you'll have a 1-story house. If you are choosing a military stronghold, you want something tall. That's so that, number one, you can see everything. Number two, when you attack, you're attacking downhill. Remember, we don't have cars. We have horses and camels and soldiers on foot and wagons. And if you're going downhill, you have got a distinct advantage. In fact, if you're going downhill, you're probably going to win. And Pompey is way uphill. And Jerusalem sees him coming. And there's division inside of Jerusalem. There's 2 different groups of people. There's the one people that are following the leader in Jerusalem. And there's another group of people that says, when those Romans come, if we can get on the Roman side, we got a chance, maybe not at living, but a chance of not dying to torture. And so this story is a gruesome story. In fact, it is so gruesome that it's punctuated in Rome's long history. There were many people that turned and fought for the Romans. Many Jewish people fought for the enemy. Many people committed suicide to avoid capture. The first thing Pompey did is he came down and he destroyed this bridge. There's a bridge right there, and there's also a bridge here. And he destroyed them. The second thing that happened was that the people who became sympathetic to the Romans, the Jews that became they wanted to fight for the Romans, they opened the gates of Jerusalem so Pompey could ride in. And Pompey and his soldiers rode in, and they began to systematically destroy anything remotely Jewish. They knocked down the statues. They destroyed everything that was Jewish at all. And then they set up camp around the temple. The priests continued to do the priestly thing. Now, at that temple, there were children. Those children were training to be priests. And one of those children was a child named Zechariah. And Pompey destroyed everything. Zechariah watched him. He gets to the temple. He bursts through the front gates of the temple. And he walks into the center of the sanctuary, where only the high priest goes. And by his very presence, he dirties what was to be pure. He pollutes it. He ruins it. And in the center of this sanctuary are the things that the candelabras, the statues, the items that are deemed pure enough for God, blemishless. And it's the sort of stuff, if you were going to steal, this is what you would steal. You have literally found the gold and diamonds room. And Pompey walks into the center of this room, takes it all in, looks at everything, touches nothing, turns around and walks out, and then issues this order. Reinstate the high priest. Purify what I have dirtied. And he commands that they begin to worship. Your initial thought might be, this is a moment of compassion. But if we look a little deeper into that, what did he take away? He took away the ability for the Jewish people to worship God because of God's order. And instead, they now must do a dance for Rome. And they hollowed what was holy. They diluted what was so strong. They took the essence of Judaism and removed it and said, if you don't worship in a way the Romans want you to worship, and we will kill you as we have killed tens of thousands. This is it. This is the story. Zechariah has worshiped his entire life, doing the things that he was trained to do from the time he was a child, the things that he observed his father doing, perhaps he observed his grandfather doing. He did the things he studied his whole life to make sure that what he did was right. And no matter what he did, he could not get away from that. Pompey ordered it. And if he didn't do it, he would be against Rome. Can you imagine what that's like? I tried to think about what would that be like in our world, and in truth, I can't think of anything. But I thought, what is hollow? And I thought, when you hear a song, and for me it's one that's done by AI. It's a song that I love from an artist that I love, but it's not the artist that sings it. It's a computer that sings it. I mean, it's not as good. It just feels empty. I thought about maybe if you ever go to a restaurant and it says as good as Mom's cooking, and you order Mom's special whatever, and you eat it. It's not that it isn't good, but it isn't Mom's cooking. we took our kids to West Edmonton Mall, and we stayed in the Italy room in the hotel. It's pretty cool. I've never been to Italy, but I bet it's different. I'll bet it is. Now, the room that we were in, it had pillars, and I bet Italy has pillars, so it should be the same. But I was in Edmonton. I got nothing but love for Edmonton, but it's not Italy. It's Edmonton. And pillars don't change that. And we watch as Jerusalem turns away from a God-worshiping, a God-fearing, a God-focused area and becomes Roman. And all of Zechariah's life, all of Elizabeth's life, they deal with this. And I wonder if that might be a little window, or if our lives might be a little, if we feel about Christmas a little bit like Zechariah felt about what he was doing. We know what it's supposed to be. We probably know what it's about. I'm sure most of you in here would be able to tell me, perhaps all of you, that it is about Jesus, and it's the birth of Jesus, and it is the reign of Jesus. Mary and Joseph and a donkey and a census was taken of the entire Roman world. But it feels a little bit like that hotel room in Edmonton. Because there are the things that are going on in our lives that make us feel empty. That make us grieve. That make us miss. I have several friends that would rather Christmas not come, just not be here. If they could go to sleep on the 24th and wake up on the 26th, they would be glad to do that because life hurts. They're lonely. This is the story of Christmas. There's a loneliness. There's a betrayal already in this. There's danger. There's fear. And it really doesn't matter what t-shirt you wear. There's fear. There's shock. There's disbelief. I cannot believe Christmas looks like this. That was never the plan. There's disappointment. There is a feeling of forgottenness. Those words are the words that I've just pulled out of this book, this letter that we're reading, book of Luke. And it might resonate with us. And for some of us, it's just a kid on Christmas morning when there's nothing but excitement, and there are gifts, and there are twinkly lights, and maybe the family you don't get to see much is there, and it's all good. But for some of us, that's not so. Even in my life, I know who's not going to be there at Christmas. I know the sadness that touches different parts. I understand that Christmas means an awful lot of work as you listen to the radio that says, "Isn't it nice having a break for Christmas?" I wouldn't know. It's like when you hear the song, "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas," hits the Saskatchewan ear a little different. I'm dreaming of a -40 Christmas, but it's not a dream I like. It's complicated, isn't it? Christmas can be so complicated. Zechariah spent his entire life in the shadow of what was supposed to happen. And now he stands at the very center of where nobody is allowed to go except for the high priest and that one time Pompey. And an angel appears. and says to him, do not be afraid. Why don't you just tell him to fly? It's easier. Like, don't be afraid. My life is fear. I have no one to care for me, and the things that I do, people aren't interested in anymore. They keep turning away. They're not focused on God. They are focused on Rome. Jericho is right up there. We remember the story of what happened. Oh, there was the story of marching around Jericho and the walls come tumbling down, but there is also the story of Pompeii coming. And I have to hold both of these things. So when people say, wasn't Jericho great? I say, well, kinda. Isn't Christmas great? Yeah. Maybe it's Happy New Year. That might be easier. Maybe it's, I'm going to go to sleep. Maybe it's, I'm going to sit down and watch one of the movies where the guy in the plaid gets the girl. Every time. Total shock. You never know what's going to happen to that. By the way, let me ask this question. If a girl is dating a guy and they're engaged, and then another guy shows up and says to the girl, no, and then the first guy says, okay, just want to make you happy, why is that a good thing? That's a terrible thing. And we put that up at Christmas and everybody cries. I might be a little off script here. I'm coming back. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to come back around. It's a little hollow. But how can I be sure this is going to happen? I'm old. My wife is advanced in years. You know it's going to happen because my name is Gabriel and I stand with God. And when God says it, then it is. Many will rejoice at his birth. He will be great in the eyes of the Lord. He will be filled with the Holy Spirit. Even before his birth, he will be filled with the Holy Spirit. And he will turn many Israelites to the Lord their God. He will be a man with the spirit and the power of Elijah. That's a famous name. Zechariah knows that story. He is going to have the spirit and power of Elijah. My boy, we haven't been able to have a kid yet, and you're telling me that my boy is going to be this one? He will prepare the people for the coming of the Lord. He will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and he will cause those who are rebellious to accept the wisdom of the godly. He will call the people of Jerusalem who have rebelled against God and turn to Jerusalem and turn to Rome, and he will call them back, and they will return, and they will learn from the priests at the temple, who will read them the Holy Scriptures, who will lead them in sacrifice, who will lead them to holiness. This is the call. This is the hope of glory. This is the very beginning of the story that is Christmas. And the challenge is, because of the way we've set it up, it could be just gifts. And I think if it is just gifts, it's because of the hurt in our lives, where that's all that's left. And the call of our soul says it can't be just gifts. It has to be more. Have no fear. There's more. It is the hope of glory. There is the promise of what is to come. This is what Christmas is. I want to close. I'm going to invite the worship team to come up, but I want to say this one thing. There is a theme in this that we're going to get into in the coming weeks. Sometimes to think God not powerful enough to deal with your situation. Sometimes that's as big of a problem as the sin of not believing in him in the first place. Do not underestimate God. Do not underestimate God's promise. Even if your entire life has been punctuated by loss, by hurt, by loneliness, by emptiness, Jesus is coming back. He's preparing a place for us. This is the hope of glory. This is the Christmas story. He came to save. He came to fix what is wrong. Is there still wrong? Oh yeah. There's still lots wrong. There is still reason for our tears. But the hope of glory trumps the fear that it's all for loss. The hope of glory. This is the Christmas story. This is Advent. This is why we come together, we light the candle of hope. This is why. Jesus. Jesus only. Jesus ever. Jesus all in all we see. Savior, sanctifier, healer, glorious Lord, and
thank you for joining us this morning. As Peter said, have no fear. There is more. And there's more to come in our Advent series. We're back again next week with a new gift and a new message to continue on that theme. One thing that is coming up this week, we have our Women's Christmas Gala coming up on Friday. And this is a big event we do every year that reaches far beyond Regina and further out into our community. But in order for that to happen, we do need some things moved out of here and some things moved in. It doesn't take very long when we have a lot of people helping. So if you're able to spare 5 or 10 minutes after the service to help out with that, just come down to the front, flex your muscles, and member of the women's ministry team will put you to good work. So blessings on you as you go about your week, and we will see you back here next Sunday.